Hi everyone, today's June 10th, 2018, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger.
And I'm Deck Tech.
And this week has been notably all about the WCS. The WCS first stage happened, it started last week, but then most of it went through this week, and on Thursday, round 2 began. Well, entry to allow you to go to round 2 begins, and today on Sunday, it's actually going to conclude. So everyone who is competing for a top spot to Japan is going to get their grinding in today, or if you're comfortably in the lead, you are sitting and watching the scores. So Deck Tech, where are you in that?
Yeah, so I'm going to have to remind myself to play a little later because I've so far only played one game in the qualifiers portion. I'm obviously not competing for to get into Japan or whatever. At this point it'd be way far gone, but also I was never really competing for it. But I would like to get kind of in the top 2,000-ish range, so I'm gonna have to get a few more wins in, of course. I won that first one, so we're off to a good start. The reason why we're delayed this week, by the way, is that I got called in to work all day yesterday, unexpectedly, so
you have to face Judge, man. Yeah,
I faced Judge, man. Did some lawyering. And then to get to the qualifiers, I played it with my Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I finally accomplished the meme. I played both of them in the first stage to get to the max level and then to win 3 in a row, so I can safely say that I've done it. And that earlier on when we talked about it last week, I was thinking that perhaps the decks were roughly equal in power level, but that they had slightly different matchups, so I would play them when I saw different things in the meta. But in playing them more, I came to realize that Amazonas is actually just a bit stronger, and towards the end, I ended up just playing Amazonas towards the end because A, it is that little bit stronger, but B, I was also seeing a lot of other Amazonas. And that happens to be one of the matchups that Shark Boy is worse against. So that's kind of where I'm at. How about you?
Yeah. Things were pretty bad for me. I couldn't get to 25 for a really long time. I think on Wednesday, I went from 25 to 24 3 times. No, I didn't even get to 24. I went from 24 to 23 3 times in one day. It was just yo-yoing back and forth. I think late at night. It was definitely into Thursday. It was like 12 a.m. midnight Thursday. I got the 25, and that was with Bujins. And it was one of the decks I played when I was failing, but apparently it was late at night, I guess, and people didn't read what was in my graveyard, so they just hit into my things and they lost, because Bujins, if you don't know, are all about graveyard combat tricks, so you definitely have to read what's in the Bujin graveyard if you want to do anything. So yeah, after that, I have played a okay amount of duels, but I have a 40% win rate as of this morning, and
yeah,
I have the points that you accumulate when you lose a duel, so give or take, 20, 30 points each duel you win. I have that. So
yeah.
But the thing about it, we'll talk about it later, actually. The points, it's not that hard to get that 2,000, that rank 2,000 this time. We'll discuss that later. You notice that compared to the Kaiba Cup, it's a lot more lenient in that regard. And also on the way to 25, I think I was 23. I lost to this Unga Bunga deck, which I have to talk about. It was a Destiny Draw deck. So when they used a Destiny Draw, they got Swift Gaia the Fierce Knight. So that's...
Yes.
And then I killed something of mine. Let me see what they had. They ran the card Gravity Lash. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that card.
I'm not.
It's a quick play spell that says the attacking monster loses attack equal to its defense. So it's like a really budget mirror wall.
Yeah, that's weird.
I hit into two of those. What else they played? They played Snipe Hunter. They played Boxer. Um, it was really unga bunga in that it was 30 cards.
Well,
And,
30 card Destiny draw, that's just value right there.
and yeah, I lost. I think they outvalued me. It was so funny. Like I was happy I lost that game. It was so funny. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
angry I lost. I was happy it
That's,
happened.
that's the best deck, where it's just like, no matter what happens, I'm just glad that I was a part of it.
Yeah, so good.
uh, Man, you should have played, well, first of all, you should have played a better deck. But
Yeah,
second of all, you wouldn't have struggled as much if you just like played at a slower rate like I did. So I was like, I don't know, a day or two behind you. And so my climb was fairly easy. Um, Most of the people where I was were, I don't know, less experienced. They had, when it shows you their PvP accomplishments, they were almost always at like lower and more sporadic finishes than mine. And like some of they were, because it was, dual level 24, 25, whatever, they were playing real decks, Sylvans and Amazoness for the most part. Those decks are actually pretty budget if you just kind of concentrate your efforts. And so they were able to play the real decks, but you could tell that they didn't play as much PvP, and so they weren't the hardest opponents. And so my climb was fairly not that difficult.
yeah.
Not as uninstall worthy as yours.
I definitely did face a lot of those people, and yeah, I think it speaks to the power level of the decks in that anyone can pick it up, regardless of experience, and it could just win you by power level.
Yeah.
And then, if you face someone better, or if they get good draws of luck or something, then they would lose. But I definitely have lost to people who just have an egg. They have an egg as last month's icon rank, and that was it. And I definitely have beaten people who have red letters, and they're king of games every single month. So there's definitely a big spread in terms of experience this time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the aspects, I think, of a well-designed card game is that the randomness is such that anyone feels like they have a chance to win any particular game, as long as you have just a basic understanding of how the game works. Because if you feel like you have no chance of winning at all, then what's the point of you playing, right?
Yeah.
So even if you're a newer guy, you have to get this impression, and of course that impression is, warranted based on your experiences, that you could possibly take down these players who, you both agree are better than you, just because of the luck of the draw or the matchup or whatever. But you want it to be rewarding to the players who have more skill and more experience and more knowledge, so you still want them to win most of the time. I think you threw a wrench in it by playing a deck that's probably not as powerful as those other decks.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's still like, that's kind of how it should go, I think, where
Yeah.
I could go against either a noob, and the noob might beat me every once in a while. Most of the times I'm going to win, unless like the noob's playing with just that deck where you start out the game and you're playing like 3-star 1200 attack monsters.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I could do a 10 game set with DK, and I might pull one or two of those out too, even though he's obviously a better player. So, it's kind of the same idea where you can go up, fluctuate up or down a little bit, and it's really cool that some of these players are people who don't really do much PvP, and you can see that, but they still managed to get all the way up to the dual level max. So I'm hoping that they also got their invitation, because that's dope, that they can kind of like hang on to that and be like, hey, this is something that I did in this game.
Yeah, and certain people are afraid of PvP in general, so maybe this would give them the confidence to shoot for King of Games. So that's good.
Yeah.
Alright. So we're going to talk about bigger stakes esports. Last Saturday, Dueling's Meta Weekly 9 happened. And this was one that we both kind of watched on different points at Twitch. You know what? I don't even have the window open. That's how...
You do? Okay. Well, I got it.
I see it now.
Okay.
So it was pretty fun to watch. The let's see, Amazonas was the most represented in the top 32, followed by Spellbooks, Sylvans, Masked Heroes, one Alien, one Sixth Samurai, one Stall. It's kind of what you expect. And first place, Chila, Extra Extra Stall. I'm not really sure why Stall decks disappeared, but I think the faster meta kind of just drove them away, and now they're back. This doesn't have Lava Golem. I'm not sure if Extra Extra ever did, but I think they did. Now it's much more slow, and the only danger of flooding the board is Wall of D. I certainly have faced this deck. I certainly have faced this deck on the ladder to MCS ladder, not MCS, WCS ladder.
Yeah. Interesting. I haven't seen it yet. As we've been discussing this whole time, you've played more than I have, but it is interesting to see this deck make a comeback. It makes more sense as a tournament deck than a ladder deck to me because, games would take a while, and that's okay in a tournament, but not the best in when you have to play just lots and lots of games.
Yeah.
But this was one of the ones that I was watching when I was catching the game, and people were just like, it was like this deck versus Sylvans or something like that.
Yeah, it's a vote, yeah.
Yeah, people were cheering for the Stall deck, and Decade was like, what is wrong with you people? The Stall was, the deck that we all hated whenever, a couple months ago. But it is pretty funny. I think you're right that the game has slowed down a little bit. We've gotten rid of a bit of the one-turn kill meta, and so I guess it makes a little bit more sense. A lot of decks also, the main popular decks and powerful decks, will go through their decks very quickly. Sylvans has a bit of refill. Amazonas does not, but still doesn't go through the deck quite as quickly, but still pulls some cards out. So it's kind of like the main, it's a good meta call because the main meta decks are automatically kind of helping you out in your process of just playing until they die, until they mill themselves out.
You know what? I should have done this all along. I've lost against this deck 2 or 3 times. And when you're playing Boojins, you should just do nothing. It's sometimes you see Pegasus, he doesn't restart. He's playing extra. And if they use the Golden Ladybug, it's a dead giveaway. And you just do nothing and you'll win the game. I realized that. And I didn't do that because I kept drawing cards.
Yeah, I mean, the deck runs 20, this one's running 24 cards.
Yeah, mine's 30.
Oh, okay. Well, good point then. Yeah, you'd be fine because this particular deck has no win con.
Yeah. And
aside from just milling you.
I did face one that had Jar of Avarice, so they did add 5 back, so that would be a deterrent. But I have seen extra on Wall of D, in that I would not attack again because I knew that was a Wall of D, and then I had fewer cards because I drew. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. It's not quite. I don't know because they were talking about it on the broadcast. I didn't get to catch a ton of it, but it feels like it's not quite as strong against Amazonas because when I'm playing the Amazonas, you can recycle your threats a little bit. So the way that this works is it either makes your guys unable to attack with Massive Morph, or make their attack equal to 0 with Wall of D, or just kind of negate attacks and generally stall until you can draw into one of those other ways. And then the way that it kind of locks you down so that it can close out the game is by making it so that none of your attackers are worth anything. And with the Princess, you can just, as soon as something becomes worthless, you can sub it out for something else.
Yeah.
And it works fairly well. You are continually adding to their clock by taking things out of your deck. But I think I've only played against Stall a couple times, but I'm pretty sure I won them all.
Glad Beast would be pretty good too. They could just tag people out and do stuff
Yeah,
like that. That's
yeah,
same
exactly.
concept.
Same, indeed. Except Glad Beast. Well, I guess the massive morph they want. So if you're playing the stall deck, you want a massive morph the princess so that they can't do that. You don't care as much about massive morphing the other things. And then on the flip side, of course, is that you want to try to save a princess so that you can recycle your stuff that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Second place, Black Jesus. Oh, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry. Just the last thing is that I also run the witch.
Oh, yes.
Witch hero, whatever.
No, Vision Hero Witch Raider.
Yeah, there you go. So she helps because then they set a bunch of back row and you destroy it all, and it has to be massive morph or maybe rainbow life, but I don't know. There's a couple ways to play around it, but this deck did definitely make some waves.
Yep. Second place, Black Jesus Amazonas. This version is a bit different. It seems like he has a different version every week, but this one has 2 Paleozoic Canadias.
Yeah, it's an interesting card. When I saw in the notes you said that he brought it, I thought that it was because he was running the witch as well, but the witch is not. It's in the sideboard, I guess, instead of the main deck. So it's a little bit interesting. If I were in his place, I guess I'm not very surprised that he switches it up a little bit every week. First of all, he doesn't want people to pin him down on an exact deck list. He wants them to have to play around slightly different stuff every time. You gain a big advantage by just people not knowing your exact deck list. And also, you don't want to get bored. So you keep trying new things and seeing what works for you and what you like. So it's an interesting shift. I'm not sure. I'm not as gung-ho about this one as some of the prior innovations.
Mock Dragon, third place. Dark Magician of Chaos spellbooks. This says Dark Magician of Chaos and the tricky no Prophecy Destroyers.
Yeah, that's interesting. For a long time, it seemed like Prophecy Destroyer was the reason why you'd run Grasslook Screener. But this one seems to care a lot more about having multiple different copies of spellbooks in your graveyard to get these various effects off. So, obviously that's antithetical to banishing things from your graveyard. So I guess it makes sense.
And third place, Mazarique with Sylvans. This one is a more expensive version because it runs 2 offerings to the Doomed.
Yeah, I think if you have the offerings to the Doomed, I think this is kind of like the standard one. If you have it, Tribute to the Doomed is a little bit weird. Maybe that...
Oh, they use it all the time for Rose Lover.
Right. I'm just thinking, like, it's standing out. Like, why wouldn't that be another offerings or an econ or something? I don't know. But sure, yeah, discard your Rose Lover.
I've just seen that so much in this WCS that it's just like that's all they do.
Yeah. Okay.
And just to point out, this top 32 Six Samurai deck by Tecumseh. It's a beatdown version. And Doji does all the work, so you definitely have to restart. Oh, you don't restart. You look for Doji. And as the 3 Grandmasters, so that's the optimal way to run the deck, of course. Yeah, I like this deck.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I'm looking through to see if there's any other ones I want to highlight.
They're all very boring in the middle.
Yeah, they're all fairly standard, so I think that's probably the coolest one to call out. So, nice.
All right. The Meta Weekly 23 happened afterwards in Wednesday. First place, Miss Tiltine. I'll get it right someday. Amazonas. This one has a lot of traps. I think yours is similar, right? Because you have 2 Treacherous.
Yes. Yeah. But the reason why I feel comfortable running 2 Treacherous is that I run the Witch, and he does not. So it's kind of interesting. But so the cool thing about the deck is that you can run 2 Treacherous because you have both the Princess and, in my version, the Witch. So you have lots of ways to get rid of the dead Treacherous after the first one goes off.
Yep. And there's Ancient Gear Engineer in the sideboard, a card you never really see. But I guess it's kind of the mirror. It does a lot of back row removal stuff.
Yeah, he's running super rushes instead of econs, which is interesting.
For the mirror as well, I would assume.
Yeah, I kind of like econ for the mirror though, because what I'll do is I'll play something, my little tiger will come out, I'll econ take their princess or whatever, attack with it, attack with mine, sack theirs to get rid of it. Like, you can do some really cool stuff with econ, so it's interesting. He's also running 3 of the baby tigers, which is likewise just really good with econ, so I think that's an interesting choice.
Select Maple, second place. Dark Magician of Chaos spellbooks. This one has the Dark Magician of Chaos and the Prophecy Destroyer.
Yeah, this one's a little bit more like what we were used to seeing. Also has 3 of the Super Rush in the sideboard, so there must be a specific matchup where it's just really strong.
Could also be the Masked Heroes. I don't know if there's that many of them anymore, but that definitely kills them.
Yeah. It also counters kind of Hey Trunade, whereas Econ does not, because you obviously play the Hey Trunade before whatever you're trying to OTK with or something, so it kind of helps against that. Maybe
right.
That's what they're thinking. I don't know.
Third place, Nyx, Sylvans. Nothing remarkable at all. Got 3 econs. Treacherous.
Sideboard's a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
It's got Chaos Hunter, 2 the Tricky, 1 Fire Formation Gyaku, and 1 Straight Flush. So that's a lot of cards that we don't normally see in Sylvan sideboards, and they're all kind of together in one sideboard. So it's an interesting set.
Man, Chaos Hunter hard counters Bujin so bad. Someone just put it out so fast and I lost. There's nothing I could do.
Oh yeah, it wrecks Amazoness too. I've seen some people putting it into their own Amazoness to counter other Amazoness. I've seen it in sideboards. I don't see it like everywhere, but most of the time your Amazoness tend to be smaller than your enemy's monsters, and you're fine with it because you just run your guys into there and then banish their things. But if you can't banish things, it's not something you might immediately think of, because when you're thinking of it, you're thinking of banishing things from graveyards, because this has effects of discarding a card, so it's kind of like in the graveyard domain, but it also applies to your Amazoness Onslaught. So it's a solid card for this meta, especially in sideboard formats, because you don't have to waste spaces for main deck.
Yeah, it's either amazing or it stays in your hand. It's one of those cards.
Right, yeah, and that's why it's super good in a sideboard format, because you only bring it into matchups where it's going to be amazing.
And Serenity, third place, Dark Magician of Chaos spellbooks. This is the exact same deck as Mock Dragons in the MCS.
Yeah, well, if it works, it works.
And just to announce, Jay Rabian is holding his cup, I think his 4th Jay Rabian Cup, happening next Saturday, 1 p.m. We'll report on that when that happens.
There's going to be, so Jay Rabian is a player that we know, we've seen a couple times show up in these top rankings, rated on the player ratings as well, and kind of has his own area in the community. I believe that some of the other high-name players are going to be either helping with or in the cup. I saw Mascarin was like tweeting about this, so it'd be cool to check it out if you're interested.
Yep. All right. Duel Links Meta has updated their tier list as a result of the MCS, I believe. In it, stall decks have moved to tier 3 to join Aliens. And the high potential decks, which are Six Samurais, Bujins, and Noble Knights, have dropped out.
There's no more high potential for those ones.
I think this is pretty much what you see in the ladder, except for Aliens. I don't think you see Aliens really, but if I should have consulted this tier list before I decided to play Boojins in my 40% win rate. Um, and aliens are a deck that I'm very comfortable with actually, and I might switch it up today in the last few hours we have left in this day, the last 12 hours we have left in this day, and see where I could go with aliens.
Yeah, I mean, might as well give it a shot. This is mostly what I'm seeing. Amazoness and Spellbooks and Sylvans definitely make up the bulk of the matchups that we're seeing. And then I don't think I've seen any aliens. I've only seen one or two masked heroes. I've seen like one, maybe two stall. So I think it's kind of like the tier 1 decks, and then other people are just bringing decks that they know or love or just have the cards for. So I don't think the tier 2 or tier 3 are super representative. I think tier 2 and tier 3 are a little bit more based on the tournament meta than on like the ladder meta.
I guess we're kind of melding into the next topic, so I guess we should jump in. WCS 2018. I have actually seen a lot of masked heroes.
Oh yeah? Maybe like in the second part of it?
Well, not only that, the first part I did as well. And then the second part, I had to put in Magic Deflector in my deck.
Well, that's interesting. I'm pretty sure I only faced like 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, maybe they all moved up because you're a day behind or whatever.
Right, yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's still an expensive and slightly more complicated deck, so it might not be as prevalent with the people that I was facing more.
And we had theories that we have different MMRs, and because we seem to be facing different things all the time. I don't know if it's a big variance in this game, but there might be some MMR thing going on with us.
Yeah, maybe. And like, if you play more, then your MMR becomes better suited to you. So my lower play count might also be affecting it. So I don't know. It's interesting.
So you're saying I should play a lot less so I could get less annoyed at this game?
Well, what I was saying is that if you played less or at least started a little later, then it would have been an easier ride, just like mine.
Yeah, I guess. But the top decks, Amazonas definitely is up there. Spellbooks, you see 30-card decks a lot. Sylvans, it's often a grit deck. Stall decks, I've faced a few, as I mentioned. Aliens, I've not seen. And then the high potential, the other decks. Archfiends, I have seen an okay amount. Boojins, I have seen a few. No Cyber Angels, no Dark Worlds, no Dinosaurs, no Fishes. I've seen some Noble Knights. Oh yeah, Silent Swordsman. That deck is so annoying. I don't know if you faced it.
No.
So they use Secret Pass of the Treasures. Okay, so this is how you tell it's a Silent Swordsman deck. They're playing Duel Standby. They play Secret Pass on their guy. They play the 2 backup riders and a Silent Sword Slash. Sometimes they have Hate Trunade, and then the game's over. It's the least interactive deck I've ever seen.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very interactive. Might be fun. I only played one game in the representative qualifiers, the second stage. So my experience is very limited. And that one game was against someone else who, of course, was at the very bottom of that ladder because I was at 0 points and that person was probably fairly close to that. And that person was running Cyberstein Life Cost 0 deck.
Oh, man.
And I went first, so they couldn't lock out my board. And then I had the Spirit Barrier that we talked about like a week or two ago. So even though I had a 1200 attacker up, and even though they went turn 1 double summon giant like 4500 attackers from the extra deck, of course, I didn't lose. And so I thereafter won because it was just Spirit Barrier plus Onslaught. So I got rid of his big dudes. And then he was left with a 500 attack guy on the board and at like 1,000 life or whatever. So it wasn't really a meta snapshot that I was getting there.
Nope. That's good though. Saves a bit of sanity, I guess. Hopefully things will go a little easier in the few hours we have left today.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, Pick a Gift campaign is back with some newer cards. A second copy of Heavy Slump and Eternal Rest. You might have to fight over gems with those, so I don't know if they're worth it. And they also have another card, Tethys, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a couple ones that we've seen recently. The first one was like double cut or something like that.
Double attack, I think.
Yeah, double attack that we've been offered so far, and that one I already had 3 copies of. So I went with like the rare gems or something instead. But all the other ones I do not yet have full sets.
And it's good to check out the tickets too. I didn't pick a rare ticket because I had all the cards from the rare ticket, so
good call.
Yeah. Zane is back for a second time. We don't get to play as him yet, but he is back again. A lot of people are angry because they like GX and they want to play as Zane, but that's not happening. Konami dangles them around for a little bit before they get to keep them, so maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe. He's made like little cameo appearances too, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's a story thing. They the whole Jesse Anderson powering up a portal, they duel each other from different worlds. It's just because Zane's like edgy and he wants to do something cool, so that's what that was about.
That is cool and edgy.
Yeah. 3 new cards. Infernal Dragon is an SR 4-star 2000 dragon. Once per turn, during the end phase, if this card attacked this turn, destroy it. When this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can tribute 1 monster and special summon this back from the graveyard. So it's like a 2000 4-star, which you've seen a bit, but it gets destroyed. And it's better in the TCG, because after it attacks, you have a main phase 2, and then you contribute it. You can't do that here, so it's a lot worse. You probably need to banish its effects. To banish it or Forbidden Chalice it, so then it loses its effects. Stuff like that, but doesn't seem too good.
Yeah, it's an interesting card. I could see it being an engine for some sort of like weird recursion combo where if there's value to either bringing monsters onto the field or tributing a monster, then this is an easy way to do that kind of repeatedly. Except you can only do it once per turn, so less like it's a fairly limited combo. I could also see maybe like you econ take their monster, you attack with their monster, you attack with Infernal Dragon, and then you tribute their monster, and I don't know. So I don't think it's worth playing right now, but it's a really interesting card, so it's kind of cool that we have it.
Damage Polarizer Counter Trap. Activate only when an effect that inflicts damage is activated. Negate its activation and effect, and each player draws a card. So this is an anti-burn card, and that effect damage is negated, and each player draws a card. So I can see this being a tech against Lava Golem if there's some kind of Ojama Go stall that becomes prevalent, I think.
Yeah, maybe. The problem is that unlike most other negates, this doesn't negate and destroy. So like for burn, if you're negating a burn spell, it's fine because you don't need to destroy it. But if you're negating something like Lava Golem, you're only saving yourself 1,000 life. Right?
Yeah.
You only negate it that one time, right? Or do you negate it forever?
I think it's just that one time.
Yeah, it's interesting. It says activation and effect. That means both parts of it, I guess.
But Lava Golem doesn't inflict the damage when it comes on the board. That's the difference, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So yeah, it's a possible sideboard card, but again, I'm not too impressed.
And a very weird card, Cybernetic Zone, quick play spell. Select one face-up machine-type fusion you control. Remove it from play until the end phase of this turn. When that monster is returned to the field, double its attack. During your next standby phase, destroy it. So if you're looking at this card, it looks like a one-turn kill deck. You could think of Parasicroid. You could double its attack, but it doesn't work that way. It gets banished, and then it comes back with the doubled attack, but then you don't get to attack with it. It just stays on the board during your opponent's turn with that double attack, and then you draw, and then it gets destroyed. So you never get to attack with that doubled attack.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
get
weird.
the point of this card.
I don't either.
There is a card that skips your standby phase.
Oh.
So that's not in this game, though. So that's what the combo is. But, what's the point?
Yeah, that's a lot of work for it. And I don't know. That is a weird card. It's actually so weird that I read it incorrectly the first time that I saw it. Because, why would you do it if you didn't get an attack with it?
It seems OP with Parasicroid.
Yeah.
Like it would just hit for 3,200 and banishes. That would be so cool.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's so many useless cards in this game.
Yep. They have to fill it because they want each person to give us 10 new cards, but they only want maybe one or two of them to be relevant.
Yep. It's like Tristan's event. They give us the handshake card.
Yeah.
You could farm him if you want to. Frankly, I did farm him a little bit, but because I realized that I don't have much time to duel anymore, I auto-dueled him a lot, and I got more of my cards from auto-dueling. Stall farm works. It's not that great, though. Sometimes he fuses on his last turn, and then you can't get the Cosmic Compass off, but usually it will work. So you stall farm, gain a lot of life, get Ra out with Cosmic Compass and attack. That works okay.
Cool. Yeah, I was just auto-dueling him the whole time. I'm in the same boat as you guys know, where I don't duel as much as I would like to, just because I had fairly limited time. So he's kind of, like you said, a tougher one to farm. And also, these cards aren't amazing, so I figured it would hopefully be okay this time. I got almost everything so far anyway, so I'm doing okay.
Yeah. The only one you really want is the Infernal Dragon, I think.
Yeah, so I'm good then. I got that one. I'm short. I don't remember what it is, but one of the new SRs that he brought just this time.
We have some breaking news here. Jetroid is secretly in Duel Links. I don't know if anyone reported this ever, but if we are the first ones, then we're breaking the news. So Jetroid was mentioned in Syrus's training wheel skill. I think it says Parasicroid and Jetroid, and we never had it. So I was looking around my tickets. I have 10 tickets left over, and the glossy WCS SR ticket. I don't remember when we got this. I think it must have been during round 1 of the DLV. Like when you're going to DLV 25, it must have been from there. But it expires on July 12th, and it lets you get your first copy of Jetroid. And I think that's what I'm going to get, because that seems to be the only way you can get the card right now.
It expires July 12th of this year.
Oh, so yeah, I have to get this Jetroid fast.
Well, that's what I was asking, actually. I don't know. Let me see. Because most of the stuff is...
2019.
Yeah. May 9, 2019. I'm looking for it. Here we go. Oh, yeah. You're right. It is this year. So that one's sooner than some of the other stuff.
It's my soonest ticket. Well, I have some ranked ones. June 30th.
Yeah, I've got some June 30th stuff, too. So.
But yeah, definitely... Well, I wouldn't say you have to get this card, but I will, because I already have some of the other stuff. And this seems to be the only way you can get this card, so...
But is the card good?
It lets you activate trap cards from your hand. That's so good.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty sweet. I haven't looked at it yet, so I don't know what I want. There's also the Crystal Beast Emerald Tortoise.
Oh, yeah, you could get a second one. I think you only get one so far.
Yeah, I think so.
So this is a really rare ticket. Like there's a lot of hot button items here that you normally don't see.
Yeah, some pretty good stuff.
And
Cool.
this is a bit confusing. Like sometimes you don't know what you get from tickets. And you never know. They're always different every time. And you have to look at all of them to see what's a common one that you shouldn't get or something.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good idea. I also check, fairly frequently, and if there's something that's going to expire in the coming, like in a week or two, then I'll use it then because I know that there's a decent chance that I'd forget and just never use it.
Yeah. So we're going to move on to the Duel School. And this is a special segment. The UR Deck Building Challenge and Duel. So
Ooh.
Doug Diamond Duel posited a question about the best UR only deck you can build. And we decided to try it out for ourselves. So we're gonna duel right here, right now.
Okay, why don't we talk about this hypothetical one first?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so um, talking about like the best one could build, what I did first was I started by looking at all the cards that were available, which you guys might not know this, but you can do that at the trader by going into the trader and then going into like the conversion card catalog for conversion, and then you can unclick cards or your cards, and then you can see everything. And then you can sort by rarity so that you can get the URs only, look at the URs only. And then you can look at maybe like individual categories and see, okay, which monsters do I have, which spells, which traps. And what I found when I did that was that there are actually very few URs in this game.
Playable URs.
Right, yeah. There were not that many spells or traps, and there were more monsters, but a lot of the monsters required other cards that were not URs. For instance, you couldn't play any of the ritual monsters or fusion monsters. And so, unless unless there's a surprise in there, I'm pretty sure you can't. So it was fairly limited. In my theory crafting, I was thinking that maybe the best route would be to do something with some of the more powerful monsters and the Paleozoic traps, and then a couple other more powerful traps and Vision Hero Witch Raider to kind of take advantage of all those traps and just kind of do like a value / control-ish thing with basically just the best cards from that group. But that's a theory craft thing, and I've got Sphere Kribo, Snipe Hunter, Vision Hero, Witch Raider, Gishki Chain, Paleozoic, Hallucigenia, Paleozoic Canadia, Floodgate Trap Hole, and Mirror Wall in there. But I don't have all those cards, so we're going to do a duel with cards we actually do have, and it's going to be a worse deck.
Alright, so I'm going to challenge you right now.
Okay.
As of now, our duel record is 0-1. I'm 0-1 against you so far.
Oh, baby.
So this is going to bring me back to 500 right here.
I'm about to defend my honor. Or what? That doesn't make sense.
So, yeah, we're going to commentate as we duel right now. It's kind of confusing because you can't see what's going on. But we're going to try to visualize the field as well as we can right now.
Yeah.
It says challenging to duel.
Okay. I don't remember how you accept, so...
There should be a notification that I'm challenging you right now.
Friends list? Oh, I see. No, I don't see.
Why don't you challenge me instead?
Yeah, I don't have the notification. That's weird.
Okay, I'm gonna cut this. I abort. Okay, you challenge me now.
All right, let's see. It says I'm challenging.
Yeah, it says you challenged me to a friend duel.
Hey.
How do I get there now?
This is kind of what we were talking about how the system is not ideal.
Okay, so yeah, I get what you mean now. Oh, I think I have to go back to challenge you. I think that's how it works.
Oh, that's interesting.
I did this when I streamed. I had a brief streaming career,
Yes.
and that's how I did it. I think. Okay,
Hey,
matching.
matching
Yeah,
successful.
so you both have to request at the same time.
Okay, that's odd. There should be an
We
accept.
we taught everyone a lesson.
There you go.
That's how you accept the friend tool.
Oh, this guy's pretty good. He's got a couple King of Games under his belt.
I'm not even there yet. I can't even see that screen yet.
Oh, okay. I'm ahead of you.
Man, my internet sucks. But the same amount. I'm representing the podcast with the the tour
All right.
guide. He's playing Joey. I'm playing Bakura. Maybe
Yeah.
that'll clue you into what I'm playing.
I don't know. Maybe it'll clue you into what I'm playing.
Man, brick's so hard.
So it says, I think you're going first.
I am going first. I'm going to play a magic card here called Dark World Dealings.
Oh, madame.
Alright, so we each draw and discard, right?
Yes.
I'm going to toss this card. Dark Necrofear.
I like it. Okay. Well, now I have an idea about what we're playing. I am going to toss. It's a tough call. I'm going to toss Sphere Karibo.
Alright.
I'm sorry, little buddy.
I set a card, and then I play the Mighty Slate Warrior in attack mode. And I'll end my turn. 1900 attack. Let's see you deal with that.
All right. I'm going to start by Cosmic Cycloning that back row. Get out of here, son.
I'm going to activate it.
Oh.
It's a mirror wall, which is going to get removed from play. So right now,
You've
deck tech has
activated my trap card. And then I'm going to play Kaiba Man.
I'm going to lose this duel so bad.
Summoning
Tribute Kaiba, man.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Except Joey's doing it.
Yeah, I can't really do a Brooklyn. Then I'm going to special summon my Dark Flare Dragon.
Oh, man.
What's up, son? Battle.
So Blue Eyes attacks Slate Warrior. And its effect goes off, which is inconsequential. He hits me for 2,400, so I only have 500 left. Well,
My Joey's got a stupid grin on his face. It's great.
I'm going to activate my skill. There goes my Destiny board.
Destiny board, go!
I set a card, and I play a card in defense mode.
Alright.
Which means I'm going to lose the next turn. There's the F.
F. Press F to show respects for Destiny board.
Dude, why don't we draw this duel out and make me lose on the last one?
Alright, let's try. I play Snipe Hunter. Discarding, I forget what it's called.
Dinosaur.
My dinosaur guy. Let's get rid of this back row. Let's try it. We rolled a 1. We're not channeling Joey, that's why. Battle. I'm gonna send my Dark Flare into this face down.
It has 0 defense.
Alright. Okay, we're gonna pass.
Okay, great.
Play around that wall of D, that's why.
So I'm going to set another card and end my turn. And here comes the eye.
Yeah.
So what did you do to build this deck? Is it just you found all your good URs or what?
Yeah, so, I mean, I was looking through my collection and looking to see what the powerful cards were. And then I looked for synergy. So, like, I had Abyss Warrior and Gishki Chain. So I was like, okay, do I have enough water types to make some sort of water deck? And the answer was no. There's very few good UR waters.
Yeah.
And then I saw, Snipe Hunter was one of the best cards that I had, as was Sphere Karibo, of course. And so I was like, these would probably be in whatever I'm making. For a while, I was trying to make Vision Hero Raider or Witch Raider in it, but I didn't really have enough trap cards to care. So So eventually, and then there's a couple Red Eyes cards and a couple Blue Eyes cards that are all in there. Kaiba Man and Blue Eyes, of course, and then Red Eyes has the Wyvern and something else as well. All right, we're at Finna.
I should. Okay, so I'm just updating you. I could have played Dark Necrofear, but I did not.
Okay.
Because I would have lost already, so I'm not going to do it.
All right. Is this the turn that we're ending it?
This is the turn we're ending it.
All right, we're trying to anyway. All right. I'm going to Snipe Hunter the back row. I've been Snipe Huntering the back row every row, or every game, just because. Or what? Every turn, man.
Every turn.
His aim has been true since then, so, anyway, so I noticed that my good cards that I had I didn't really have build around spells and traps, and the good cards that I had were dark, and then I had this Blue Eye synergy, so I figured I could make a Dark Flare. Dark Flare was obviously there, so that kind of triggered the whole thing. Maybe I can make a dark and light last gamble deck.
That's why I call you Deck Tech.
That's right. That's the Deck Tech way.
So I lost the duel. It wasn't even close. And,
that first turn was pretty lit, though.
That was, yes.
It's hard to come back from that.
Yes. So, there, we did the UR deck building challenge and duel. It was very fun to make those decks and to duel. It would have been better if it was a closer game, but we did draw it out to Fina, so...
That's right.
Right.
All right. I will be adding my deck to the notes. I see yours is already in there. Something interesting. I love deck building challenges. Back in my Magic the Gathering days, I kind of started my handle of Deck Tech, by the way, back in like early Magic the Gathering forums. And there was kind of this recurring forum where every week they would have a challenge of the week. And almost every week I would be in it. And I won like several of them because I love these deck building challenges. And it would be things like build a deck that only runs like the same creature type in Magic, or build a deck that only uses commons, and all of those things. And those types of challenges, lots of fun for me. So anything that kind of shakes up the normal way that you play the game is a good time. And so if you and your friends want to play like, URs only or something, maybe this can give you some ideas of how you want to do it.
SRs only would be so, I think that would be probably the best one.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot more SRs, including a couple pretty important cards.
Yep. All right. So we'll be looking forward to the next deck building challenge.
Yeah.
And finally, we're going to... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I guess that's one thing we can ask, if our listeners enjoyed that, first of all, if we want to do more host challenges to each other or something, deck building challenges, all of that, let us know, because that's a segment that obviously we've never done before. So love to hear what you guys think about it.
And it was so fast, we could have just recorded it as well. So if you want to see what happens like that, me get creamed in the future, I guess, that on YouTube, that's where it will go. All right. So finally, we're going to talk about the upcoming official news. There were no data mines this week, so I'm kind of sad that we didn't see future cards, but there probably will be one next week, so we'll tell you about the data mines. But these are official news. The Tag Duel tournament is happening probably right after this thing wraps up, so that's a pretty fun PvE event. Hopefully no one is completely brain dead like Kaiba was. Hopefully they go to school, they go to Duel Academy, so they're a little better. DD Tower Dark Dimension plus Yubel, mid-June. Jesse Anderson to the Gate, late June. New team event plus Espa Roba, late June. And Syrus, early July.
Cool. Should we go into the wrap-up?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, so I wanted to give a shout-out and thanks to our listener who goes by Sky Guild He sent us a Facebook message. I'm not going to read the whole thing here because it's a little long, but he was just talking about his background in Duel Links, how he played for a while, and then he kind of took a break and then came back and recently started playing again, and also recently picked up podcasts and how he enjoyed our podcast. He told us a bit about his travel all the way up through the first part of the WCS and making his way into the regional representative spot, or sooner than I did by like a lot, actually. I think he sent this like, when was this, like a week ago or something? Like he got in there like 2 days into the thing or something, whereas I got there a day after, like the last day. So huge congrats to him for kicking butt on it. Thanks so much for listening, and thanks for writing in and letting us know, because we really love to see and hear all those things. People who we love hearing from the listeners. If they just want to tell us how they're doing, if they want to give us, tips or requests for the show, or if they just want to let us know that they like what we're doing now. So all of that's awesome, and thanks for reaching out, Sky Guild.
Yep. And thank you to everyone who has been reaching out via our different channels and talking to us.
Yeah.
So that's it for us today. Thank you for listening, and thank you for waiting a day. Listen and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Overcast, and YouTube. Check out the podcast and more at our website, theduelassessment.wordpress.com, Facebook, facebook.com/theduelassessment, Patreon. If you want to help us, patreon.com/duel_assessment. Email us at theduelassessment@gmail.com. Or find us on Twitter, duel_assessment. I have a new thing now, Green Ranger CCG, and DeckTech still at HS DeckTech.
Yeah, I saw that you changed it, and now I'm intrigued, so I might have to change mine for next week too, or something. I don't know. We'll see.
All right.
You're going to have to tell me how you did that. Some sort of magical technology.
Magic, yep. All right. See you guys. Good luck in the WCS.
Yep. Catch you guys next week.